Good morning, everyone. Isn't this exciting? Oh, that was such a letdown. Isn't this exciting? Oh, fantastic. Well, welcome to the Beacon Church. And those of you who are joining online or watching afterwards, welcome and hello to you too. It's lovely to see so many people here in the building. Hope you've had a great summer holiday. Special welcome to children in church this morning. It's lovely to see you too. I have to say, about 6 months ago, I felt a bit anxious. I felt anxious that no one would ever want to come back to the building again. Seriously, I thought it'd be me and James because we have to be here. And Alan would be here because he's operating the technology. And David Leach would be here because he comes to everything. And maybe a few others, and that would be it. But it's been brilliant. It's been really encouraging to see so many people come back over the last few weeks. And of course, we're still in a strange time, aren't we? The restrictions have been lifted, and we've tried to walk in line with those as a church, but we do still need to be careful with each other and respect each other's needs and each other's space, if that's what people do need. It's not even, that we ever went away, did we? We've been meeting together online, and that's worked really well for most of us, but we're together in a new sense. And coming back to the building is the beginning of new possibilities and new opportunities, and it's exciting for all of us. We know, don't we, that the building isn't the church. The building isn't the church. We are the church. The people are the church. Families are still families, even when they don't get to see each other very much. And it's like that for us as a church too. We've never stopped being the church family. But being together like this allows us to express that we're family together, and hopefully we'll feel it more strongly as we go forwards. So as we find our feet again, we're going to stay together as one church family for all the Sundays in September. And that'll be a little bit different for us, but hopefully it will be great to be together as a church family. And I do mean as a family. This isn't just for the kids. This isn't just for the adults. This is for all of us to be together as a family. And then in the last Sunday in September, we hope to give thanks to God for harvest and have a bring and share lunch when we can all be together and stay together as one family. We're going to look together at a story in the Bible when God's people came back to their land, having been away for 70 years, not 18 months, but 70 years. What happened to them? And what did they do when they came back to the land? And we'll see, I hope, that there are some great lessons for us as a church. So our separate kids' church classes will be starting properly in October. But for now, we want to have the chance just to be able to see one another again and to be together, to get to know each other, and perhaps even to get to know some people for the first time. Now, I want to say as we start, we love the sound of babies in this church, all right? We really mean that. We love the sound of babies. We like the hubbub of children in the church as well. But we know that sometimes that can be a bit of a struggle. So if you feel like your little one is the noisiest in the universe, and you're going increasingly red on the outside and increasingly dying on the inside, please feel free to go into the lounge if you'd like to do so and sit through there. There are some toys through there, and the service is being piped through there, so you'll be able to join in from where you are. But we love as many as possible for us all to stay together, to take part in the service, to sing the songs, to listen to the stories from the Bible, and to say amen after our prayers. So before we sing together, let's start with a prayer. Let's pray together. Lord God, Heavenly Father, we come together and we give you thanks for your great faithfulness to us as a church family. Thank you that you love us, Thank you that you sent Jesus for us, and thank you that you've involved us in your story, in your purpose of bringing hope and love to this world in which we live. May we hear you speak to our hearts this morning. In the name of Jesus, amen. So let's stand and let's sing a few songs together. Amazing Grace and Blessed Be Your Name.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm looking for a little bit more energy, I'm going to be honest. Like, you've had a trial of this with Anthony, and we're going to be doing some moving around a sec where I'm going to need your help. So good morning, everyone. Good morning. Morning, lovely. That's much better. So we're going to have 4 weeks of fun at a family service. I'll be honest, the attitude in my car as we came to the service this morning was Beth said, "Oh, it's family services this morning," from which someone who'll remain nameless went, "Boring." No subtlety at all, just letting us know how it's going. Hopefully, it won't be boring. We're going to try and make it as fun for you as we can to see what's going on and to understand these things. So as Anthony said, we're going to think about God's people coming back to worship together, returning to the land, to their home, to the place that God wanted them to be. Now, if you're like me, the question that you've got in your mind when that happens is, well, where were they? What was going on? What had happened that they weren't at home? So I'm going to try and help us understand where God's people were and what was going on at the time, which meant that they weren't at home. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to need some help. Okay, kids, I'm going to need you to do a bit of moving around. Adults, you might be called upon depending on how involved the children want to be. So just be wary. If I call on you, I will be asking you to come and get involved. Kids, can I have 2 volunteers to start off with? Just 2. I'm going to save certain people for in a moment. And I'm going to go, I don't know whether this is just inviting chaos or not. But while they're willing to help, I'm going to go. Micah, Elijah, do you want to come and stand right over here? Come and stand next to Joey. I don't know if that's a recipe for disaster or not. We're going to think about where God's people are. God's people were living in the land. And I want you to imagine that this room is kind of like God's land. So in the middle here is where God's people were. For those of you who like your geography and you know that Israel's up against the Mediterranean Sea, well, that's sort of that wall there and out towards the car park. Egypt, down in the bottom hand corner. Jake, can you give me a wave? There we are. That's where Egypt would be. And the promised land which God had given to his people with Moses and Joshua, is here in the middle. Now, there's 2 kingdoms they're living in. This first one we're going to think about is called Israel. It's the northern kingdom and is the biggest. So boys, can you give me a wave? You're being Israel and our northern kingdom. Excellent. This is the most obedient and obliging that they have ever been. Let's see how long this lasts. So they're there. They're not living for God, though. They're not doing what God wants. And so God says, well, I'm going to take you out of that land. And to do that, he raises up another nation who are going to come in and scatter them. So I need 2 more volunteers. I'm waiting for you to, okay? I've got a job for you in a minute, all right? You just wait. Noah, Poppy, you come out. Ruby. Oh, I tell you, I'm going to keep, half the time I deliberately call children the wrong name to mess with them. And it's not working now that I can try and remember who people are. Right. I'm going to try and move with my mic. Here we go. Guys, come over here. Go stand by that organ for me. You ready? You're going to be Assyria. Okay? You don't have to remember that name. Don't worry. Okay? But you're Assyria. Now, God brings in Assyria, and they're going to come and attack. Now, just wait while I explain how we're going to attack. Do you know how to do a thumb war? What have they been teaching you at school? I've got questions if you don't know what a thumb war is. This is where, let me see, okay, I could demonstrate with Kim, okay? So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare a thumb war. And then what you've got to do is pin the other person's thumb, just like this. It helps if the other person puts up some kind of fight, but Kim hasn't, so I've won, okay? But that's what you're going to do. So you're going to march over here. Can you march for me? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Noah has got his war face on. He's ready for action. You guys, you're going to come in and you're going to attack Israel in a thumb war. Yeah. Not that. Okay. No. Have a thumb war with the guys over there. So you go for it. You go and you have a thumb war with them. No. Thumb war. You can go with Elijah as well. Noah, do you want to start a thumb war with Elijah? There you are. And they wrestle and they're fighting and it's all going on. Okay. And Assyria win. Hey! Assyria win. Okay? And they scatter God's people. So they take the northern kingdom, this kingdom of Israel, where most of God's people live, and Assyria go back home. So Assyria, you can go back to where you are. I'm going to need you to stay over there for just a moment. Some of God's people stay where they are. Some of them get moved around. But when we think about God's people returning to the land, this northern kingdom never come back. This is the land that becomes in the New Testament when we think of the Samaritans and we think of Samaria, so the woman at the well who's from Samaria, that's this land. This will become Samaria. So that's our northern kingdom. You go stand over there with Assyria. Run for me. Good lad. Yeah. So that's our northern kingdom. They've been attacked. We then have our southern kingdom, the rest of God's people. Boys, this is where I need you. If you stand up and move back just a little bit so you stood between Auntie June and Auntie Doreen. There we are. If you can keep them in check for me, ladies, that would be great. So we've now got the rest of God's people, and we're going to see what's going to happen with them. So we've got Assyria over here, and the sort of tension, but Assyria don't do anything. Another nation arises. And again, God's people here aren't living as they should be. So God says again, I'm going to take you away from your home. I'm going to take you away. I'm going to take you into exile. And this is where all the prophets are speaking and saying, if you don't come back to God, this is what's going to happen. And so God raises up another nation. So I'm looking for another 2 volunteers. Let's see. Jessica, if you come over here, and Poppy, do you want to come? Okay. And if you go over to that corner for me. So we've now got, let's just check and see who's listening. Over here, we've got Syria. Don't call out. It's school starts tomorrow. Okay. We need to get this properly. Over here, we've got Assyria. Yeah, good. There's a hand in the air. Over here, we've got, good. Did I say who they were? Have I said who they are? No, there we are. No one knows. This is Babylon. Babylon is over here. They're ready. In the middle, we've got Judah, the southern kingdom, God's people. So Babylon come onto the scene. They come over here. Who do you think they're going to go for first? Who's the big, powerful nation? Assyria. Babylon go and fight Assyria. Remember what? Same rules. You're thumb warring. We're not actually having a fight. So they go and they fight against Assyria. And they win against Assyria. Babylon are really big, really strong, really powerful. They come back over this way. They come back over this way. No, you can. They then look around and they look for the next best place to go. Now, when you think about where God's people live, how would you describe that land? When they're talking about the land they're going to go into with Moses and Joshua, how is the land described? That's a tough question. What's it like, the land? Oh, stop calling out, voice back there. You've got to put your hand. It's a land flowing with milk and honey. It's a good land, in other words. What's the other land like that they spent 40 years wandering around in? Wilderness. Yeah, it's a wilderness. It's not good. So that's a really good land. So Babylon are like, let's go take them over. So they go and they attack and they fight, done war again, Judah down in the southern kingdom. So Poppy, Jessica, go and attack Judah for me. And Babylon win. No. You didn't win. Babylon won. That, yeah. She's beating you. That, you know, going into year 1, aren't you, Poppy? Yeah. She's beating you year 8. Now, I need you to really focus, you two boys, for a moment here, okay? What we know about Babylon here is that they take away the best of the land of Judah. They take away the best, the most handsome, the most intelligent, the most clever. So, boys, just for a moment, I want you to pretend that you are the most intelligent, the best looking, the best of the people in Judah. I'll just give them a moment to think about getting into character. Are you ready? Babylon take the best of Judah, the best of God's people, and they bring them back to Babylon. What do you think you're doing? They take them back to Babylon, and they're there, and they train them up to understand Babylonian culture. This is what the adults all talked about in the book of Daniel. And we thought about, this is where God's people are. This is where Daniel and all his friends are, and they get trained and they get taught. But there's one more nation that arises before we get God's people coming home. Have we got 2 more volunteers who've not done anything? Right, this is a really big, strong nation. So Emily, Zeke, Thomas, you go over. Stand by the other door for me, just down there. Let's test the adults, shall we? Adults, which nation arises next? We did this in Daniel when they sneak in. I know Alan knows. Anyone? Hands in there. Let's see. Oh, Sam knows. Go on, Sam. It is the Medo-Persians, yes, but Persia arise. So Persia, give me a wave. Now, you know what? If you read the book of Daniel, there's no fighting in Daniel. Well, very little, but it says that Darius, who's leading them when they come, they just slip in and steal the kingdom in an evening. It's what happens at the end of Daniel 5. They just come and they slip in and they win the kingdom. So Persia, out you come. Big, strong. You're not even going to have to fight them to win. So you come and you invade. So now God's people are living in Persia. We're not with them. Gotta love it, haven't you? When the kids have lived for you. God's people are here. They lived in Babylon and were taken to Babylon, probably some of them as teenagers. They've lived there for maybe 50, 60, 70 years. Medo-Persia arrive, and they then get indoctrinated into that culture. And they stay there for years. And they have kids. That's their home. But it's not where they belong. It's not where they should be, which is here in the land that God wants them to have, where their temple was, where the rest of their people are, where their home was. And maybe for some of them, they feel separated from where God wanted them to be. They maybe felt alone because they couldn't worship together and have their identity as God's people. They maybe felt scared. You know what, kids? That's maybe how you felt over the last year. You've maybe felt kind of on your own, kind of cut off from everyone else because you haven't been able to meet together with your friends at church. But God moved and changed the king's heart, and the people were able to come home. You know, sometimes coming home's great, but it can also be scary. Coming back to a culture that you didn't know before, coming back to people you didn't know before, a place maybe you haven't been for years. And while we've not been away, thankfully, for church from 70 years, man, could you imagine not being able to come to church for 70 years and come and gather? But maybe it feels different. Maybe it feels a little bit strange. Maybe it feels a little bit weird. And that can be true for you guys as kids. It can be true for the adults, that we've not been able to worship together. But God brings his people home. And what we're going to be thinking about for the next 4 weeks, and what Anthony's going to talk to us about after we've sung another song, is what things we remember when we come home and how that helps us to be a church family and connect in the way that we should and to prioritize the things that we need to prioritize. Thank you so much for those of you who have helped. I'm going to let you go back to see. Let's have a round of applause for our willing volunteers. Some of them have really had to step into character to be the best of Judah as they get carried away into exile. But we're going to sing again, and then we're going to think from there. Anthony's going to talk to us about what those things mean as God's people comes back. So we're going to sing God's Not Dead. So if you would like to stand together, we'll sing, and then we'll move on to the next bit of our service.
Well, thanks, James, for getting us going and for telling us that story. It's lovely that we've had history rewritten here in church this morning as well. Well, I'm going to tell us a little bit about what happened after that. And we're going to hear more of this story of God's people coming back to the land over the next few weeks. It's a great story. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about what's happening this coming week. So for kids especially, what's happening this week that's really important? Does anyone like to? Yes, what's happening this week? It's really important. Yeah. School, that's right. We're going back to school. How do we feel about that, kids? How do we feel about that, parents? Just as I thought. Well, yeah, that's right. Schools restart and you're going back to school. So stick your hand up if you're starting a new school. Brand new school. So that's a few of you. A few of you going into year 7. Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. Yeah, lovely. And so some of us are starting a new school, but we're all going into a new year, aren't we, if we're in school? Some of us will probably be having new teacher as well. So how do we feel? How do we feel about going back to school? I wonder what we're excited about or what we're nervous about. Does anyone want to share? Yeah. You're excited about work? You are an unusual child, aren't you, Dave? Yeah. Okay, who else is excited about work? Tumbleweed moments. So what are we excited about? If we're excited about, Ollie, lunch it's a good part of the school day, that's right. Yeah, anyone excited about anything else? No, yeah, you'll have to shout, I'm afraid. Tree house. Oh, fantastic. That sounds great. I'd like to go to your school. Now, listen, it's also a time when maybe some of us might feel a little bit anxious. I wonder if anyone's prepared to share if they're anxious about anything about going back to school. Are we anxious about anything? Anyone anxious? No? Well, either that means that no one's anxious. Yeah, the teachers are anxious, or some of them are anyway. And I think that's totally fair, isn't it? Well, it's lovely to hear those thoughts. What we're going to do is we're going to watch a short video now of some children talking about going back to school. And we're going to have a reminder that however we're feeling about starting a term, whether we're a kid or whether we're a teacher or even a parent, that God has promised that he'll be with us. So thank you, Alan.
Going back to school can be scary. We might feel a bit worried. What are you nervous about?
I'm nervous about making new friends. I'm nervous because I don't know my teacher.
I'm nervous about not knowing anyone else.
I'm nervous about playing with the new people which are coming into year 3.
The work being a bit harder.
I'm nervous about saying goodbye to my mum and dad.
Some of us might feel really excited about going back to school. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to being in a class with old friends.
I'm looking forward to having normal lessons again.
Having a new teacher. I'm looking forward to learning about Egyptians.
Looking forward to going on school trips again.
I'm looking forward to being the oldest in school.
I'm looking forward to seeing my teachers. I like to see my teachers on their free.
I'm looking forward to playing with friends in the playground again.
In the Bible, God made a big promise to his people when they were scared about going to a new place. God said,
"Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go."
This means that on the first morning of school, whether we're super excited or don't want to leave the house, God is with you. He will be with you on the way to school, step by step. He will be with you as you wave goodbye to your mum or dad. He will be with you when you go into your classroom and hang up your coat and bag. God has promised that he will never leave you. So with God by your side, you can trust him as you go back to school.
Well, that's a great promise from God, isn't it? That God has promised to be with us wherever we go. And that was a promise that God's people needed to hear in that story that James was telling us about and the children were helping us think about just a few moments ago. Remember that they've been away for their own country for how long? Can we remember? 70 years, that's right. And during that time, it would have been very easy for them to lose sight of God, wouldn't it? That can happen to all of us. They'd forgotten about their special relationship with God. But there's a sense in which they'd also lost sight of one another as well, because often when we lose sight of God, we lose sight of one another too. And they lost sight of their purpose. Their purpose was to bring God's blessing to people in the world around them. And again, that can happen to us sometimes, can't it? We lose sight of God. We lose sight of each other, and we lose sight of our purpose of being in the world. But then that event happened that was so remarkable. Cyrus, who was the great ruler of the world at the time in Persia, allowed the people to go back to their land. And in the Bible, there are two books called Ezra and Nehemiah, which tell the story about how that happened, how they returned to the land, and how they rebuilt the temple, and how they rebuilt the city and its walls, and about how they restored their relationship with God, and about how they renewed their relationship with each other, and about how they recovered their purpose, why they existed. So I'd like to read just a few verses from the start of the book of Ezra. So this is some verses from the Bible which tell the start of that story. So do listen as I read these few verses. It was the first year of the rule of Cyrus. He was the king of Persia. The Lord inspired him to send a message to all through his kingdom. It happened so that what the Lord had spoken through Jeremiah would come true. The message was written down. It said, Cyrus, the king of Persia, says, the Lord is the God of heaven. He has given me all the kingdoms on earth. He has appointed me to build a temple for him at Jerusalem in Judah. Any of his people among you may go up to Jerusalem and build the Lord's temple. He is the God of Israel. He is the God who is in Jerusalem, and may their God be with them. And that's the start of that story as the people return to their land. But you know, they do so because God keeps his promises. You see, it looks like Cyrus, the great king, is in charge, but really it's God who's in charge. And God is the great promise-keeping God. And God makes this great announcement that the people can go home. But the Bible tells us that it's God who moves his heart to do that, just as God promised through Jeremiah the prophet that that would happen. And here's the great thing. God hadn't finished with his people. In fact, he had a brand new start for them. And, you know, some of us might have felt over the last 18 months or so, what's this all about? What's happening? And for some of us especially, there might have been some days when we just felt a lot of darkness and a lot of sadness and a lot of gloom. But you know, even in those moments of darkness and gloom, we can know that God will keep his promise to us, just as he kept his promises to his people back then. He's the God who says, I knew you before, I know you now, and I will be with you in all things. And that's the God who knows us and the God who loves us too. So as a church, as we make a new start at this time, and for you children, as you start a new term at school, we can do so knowing that the God who keeps his promises will be with us always. Well, before we sing, let's pray together. And I want to pray especially for the children and for all our teachers who are restarting school after the summer break. So let me encourage us to stand as we do so. We'll pray together and then we'll stay standing as we sing our next song. So let me encourage us all just to stand as we pray together. Lord God, we pray for children and teachers and parents and grandparents as schools restart. We thank you that you have promised to be with us always, and that we ask that we would know that for ourselves and that we would trust in you. Be with us in our going and in our coming. Be with us in our learning and in our playing. Be with us in our teaching. Please protect our hearts from any worry that we might feel and keep us safe. And please give us good friends. Thank you for loving us from head to toe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, let's stay standing. Let's sing about who God is, that he's a great big God and that he holds us in his hands.
Guys, get comfy. It's time for everyone's favourite part of the service, the notices. And with it being the first Sunday in September, having not done anything for a year and a half, there's a lot of them. Everything will start to return to normal, is I think the general feeling you'll get as I share the notices. Things are starting again, things are kicking in, things are going to be happening. You'll see we're starting to return to our normal layout. You don't need to email us to tell us if you're coming on a Sunday morning. Face coverings are optional, and please do with whatever you feel is right for you. If you want to be wearing a face covering, please do. If you're more comfortable without it, that's okay. We're going to do our bit as a church, so trying to keep the doors open to allow the ventilation to come through. There'll be hand sanitizer around to keep your hands clean, so please do use it. I'm going to encourage you all, if you know you're not well, if you've got symptoms, please do join us on Zoom. Please stay at home or catch up later. But if you're not sure, then it's probably best just to maybe give that week a miss. We will be continuing to show our services on Zoom, so you can keep up to date with what's going on and what's happening. And as we've said throughout this, we would encourage everyone to show love and grace and patience with each other as we continue to adjust through this period we're in. Other things that are starting now after the summer break. We're meeting here together for breaking of bread tonight. So that'll be 7 o'clock here in the building. Please do come and join us. I'm probably going to say several times, as your patterns and your routines kick back in, think about what you can be doing in the week. And it's always best to start off the way you mean to go. So why not come and join us tonight as we break bread and get into that habit of joining us for the evening services as we return. Moving through the rest of the week, tomorrow, Pantry Cafe, which is what Fair Clem used to be, but is now the Pantry Cafe, is going to be here. If you want a meal, you can come between 12 and 1 and get some food on a pay-as-you-feel basis. But they're also looking for volunteers to come and help in the kitchen and to get involved with cooking the food. If you're interested in that and would like to get involved, please speak to Jennifer, who will, I'm sure, readily encourage you to come. Or you can come and wash up and get involved, help set up, tidy up, clean up. There's loads of jobs that need doing. Please ask how you can get involved. House groups are returning as well. So there'll be 2 house groups running tomorrow night, another one on Tuesday, another one on Wednesday. The vast majority of them will be coming back in person. So we'll be meeting again in people's houses, which I know so many of us have missed. We're going to be doing a series together for the next 4 weeks while we're doing these family services, which just allow us to chat, I think very freely is the best way of describing it. Chat quite openly, get to know each other again, get used to being in a room with people and talking about the Bible. So if that's not something you've done or done before, please use this opportunity to get involved. Maybe you're really looking forward to it. I've been waiting for the week we say house groups are going to be back in people's houses. Please do get in contact with your leader about where it's going to be this week. But if you're not sure, Glyn and I lead the Monday groups. Joe leads the Tuesday group with Jason, and Anthony and Mark lead the Wednesday group. We've not published where they are yet, but please do get in contact and ask if you'd like to join one of those. And one of the things that we would like to try and continue that's been a blessing to people is some people have found it a real blessing to meet on Zoom. Now, I know some of us haven't, but for some people who maybe struggle to get out of the house at a certain time or need to stay for child commitments, meeting on Zoom is a great thing. And if you'd like a Zoom house group moving forward, please let us know so that we can work out a time for it to happen, when's the best slot, and can get people together who would like to be doing that. All our youth work and clubs are restarting. I'm going to ask Julian to come up in just a moment and tell us about Youth Club. But if you are in primary school or going into primary school, so you're in reception, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, put your hand up for me. Yay, look at you all. Lighthouse is back on Wednesday. Wow, yeah, come on. Lighthouse is back on Wednesday. Yeah. Please do come and join us. We're going to have the usual mix of fun and games. Ali will be trying to rein me in and stop me being silly, but we're going to be playing all sorts of fun and stories and Bible verses and teaching the kids all about what it means to follow Jesus. Don't feel you've got to come the first week. I know the first week can be a little crazy. for the children. Adults come to house group, but children, it can be a little bit crazy. I don't know how ours are going to adjust to being back in school and everything being normal, but come whatever week feels right as you adjust. But it'd be lovely to see you on Wednesday, 5:30 here, as we get back into things. It's going to be great fun. Please do come and join us. Julian's now going to come and tell those of you slightly older who've been maybe waiting for news on Youth Club about what they are going to be doing. And he's got a big book of notes. Look at that. How long is he going to be speaking for?
Morning, everyone. Just we're quite excited, aren't we, Steve? Alison over there. We're just going to...
Are you sure? Can you contain it?
I think it was when Anthony said to us, are you sure you want to start? When you want to start, do you want to think about it? And we said, yeah, we just want to get going. Youth Club, years 6 to 9. Lots of games, lots of activities, tuck shop, a great opportunity to meet people, to get to know people. But as always, I've got a big red book. Because what I've got is Youth Club is not just for the young uns, it's for us as well as us old uns. Now, me and Steve are getting on a little bit and we have to do the talks. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, oh man, all those poor children who've just got to listen to them talk all the time. So what we're after is what we did last year is we want to get some guest speakers in. And there's 2 aspects in Youth Club we'd like you to think about helping. Number 1 is coming as a guest speaker. Please don't think you don't have anything to say. Please don't think I don't have a message, because we all have messages at whatever stage of life. God's brought us to him in so many different ways. And it's really good that the young people can hear different stories. And to us, one of the best things is you come into Youth Club, you spend 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever you can spare, coming in and spending time with the kids. For us, it's important because then they can start seeing you in church. And it builds that family relationship. We talked about coming in, and it's great seeing everybody as a family. But it's really important that as a family, we know each other. So point number 1 from me is if you could come along and maybe just spend a little bit of time, just maybe doing a talk. The other aspect is we get people in just to get to know them. We've got a big, huge Jenga game. And what we do is we make it nice and easy. You play Jenga against one of the people in Youth Club, and each block has a little question on it. And they're not scary, but those who have done it, you've done it, James, haven't you?
Yeah, it's petrifying. Don't.
No. It's a way to get to know the young people. And one thing we say to them is, when you go into church on Sunday, go and say hello to that person. And it brings that family together. I'm just going to be a little bit cheeky and just talk about Sunday Evening Ignite as well. Sunday Evening Ignite, we do the Ignite, which is the older one. So that's the year 9 pluses on that one. And again, it's the same theme. What we're looking for is people who will host. They're going to come into the services at various points, and that's great because, again, it brings them into the church service. But on the Sunday evenings, what you'll get is somebody who'll come along and do a talk, and you'll get one of the Ignite leaders, but you'll get a group of ravenous locusts who will come and eat your house out. But what we're after is if you could open your home, because, again, it's a great way of building relationships. It's this family. We're looking for people who could just come along. Maybe you could spare one evening that we could come along and say somebody will do a talk, and there'll be just that opportunity to spend time around the different locations around the church. So again, the big red, Eamon Andrews, wasn't it, who came with his big red book? And so I will be approaching everybody with my big red book. And please, if you want to go away and pray about it, but it is just an opportunity. Please don't say to me, I have nothing to offer. I have nothing to say, because God has brought us to him in so many different ways. And that's important for the children to hear. For the children who've been brought up through church, it's important to speak and spend time with people who have come to the Lord through that way. For people who have come later in life and been saved later in life, it's important for the children to hear that as well. We've got a great bunch of kids. They are absolutely outstanding. We've got so many new starters in Ignite, so many new starters in Youth Club. And just please, can you, if nothing else, can you just pray for us on Wednesdays and Sunday evenings as well? But Wednesdays, because we really want to get that Youth Club rolling again. And so we've had a big break on it. And just pray for the children, because if nobody volunteers, they have to listen to me and Steve for about the next 3 years. Thank you.
So if you're wondering what Julian's reference was about the Big Red Book, like I am, and you're younger than me, you are the people they want to get involved. If you got the reference, you were welcome to come, but they want the young people. I do not know what you're talking about with the Big Red Book, I'll be honest, but there we are. No, we're not having an age consent thing. This isn't, are you old enough to get it? So youth club happens on a Wednesday. It's going to be 7:30 till 9, and it's for years 6, 7, 8, and 9. Ignite happens on a Friday night as well. That's going to be kicking off in a few weeks, 24th. Yeah, I managed to get the right date. Friday night, 8 till 10, for anyone who is year 9 or above. Please do think about how you can get involved in those. And Ignite on a Sunday night happens when the evening service is on. So the young people can go to Ignite, and the adults can hopefully come and engage with the evening service. So that's similar time, sort of 6:45 till 6:30, I want to say, or just quarter past 7-ish. So 6:45. So you're dropping off for the 7 o'clock evening service till about 8:15. I'm confusing myself now. Please do think about how you can get involved. For your diaries, there's going to be a praise evening on the 19th of September. We're not going to have an evening service together here. There's going to be a praise evening at St. Thomas's Church. Praise for God's provision for the last 18 months, for his keeping, for his grace. And it's also going to be an opportunity to pray for Afghanistan. The guys from the band are going to be playing, so please do come and get involved. Put that date in your diary for the 19th of September. The food bank's also going on. They've not had a lot of people out and about and donating for the last few months. So please, if you can support that, you can either bring stuff to church on a Sunday morning and there'll be a box that you can put it in, or you can take it to St. Thomas's before 11 and drop it off at the porter cabin there. But please do think about how you can support the food bank. Family services, as we've said, are going to be for another 3 weeks after this. Please do put the date in your diary of the 26th of September. The intention that day is we're going to stay and have a family meal and a fellowship and bring and share meal. We'd love people to stay for most of the afternoon if you can. We're going to play some games, we're going to have some fun, and we do really want it to be an opportunity of coming together and spending time together. When we're done, there's going to be an opportunity. You'll be glad to hear these are the last 2 notices. When we're done in a few minutes after we've sung, there'll be an opportunity to go through and get coffee and tea and drink and things. Please do sort of flow through. If you go in this door here and go round and then into the kitchen, we found it allows people to move through a bit more quickly. There's no limit on numbers in the kitchen anymore, but please don't loiter by the counter having a chat. If you can move through, go outside, come in here, chat, wherever's easiest. It just means that people can flow through and we're not too closely packed in as we all grab a coffee. The final thing I'd really like to encourage you to do is be praying at home. It feels really full on, a list of notices and everything starting like this. It's really exciting. There's lots of stuff going on, and we're all really excited, as Julian said, about the fact that we want to get these things going again. But I think the reality is, for some of us, we'll probably feel a little bit rusty. Things haven't been happening for the last year and a half. To come back into this context where we've got to get back into the mindset of doing all those things we were doing, maybe feels a little bit difficult. So please do pray. Pray for our leaders. Pray for the kids who haven't been in these environments for so long. Pray for those outside of our fellowship who were getting involved, that they would come back and that they would return and that they would hear the good news of the gospel, which is what we are seeking to share in all of our clubs. We're going to sing. You'll be glad to know before we finish our service. So we're going to stand and sing together. There is a higher throne. So let's stand and praise God together. close our time in prayer, shall we? Heavenly Father, we thank you that you are with us. We thank you that you are a promise-keeping God. We thank you that we are your people, that we are united together through the Lord Jesus. We pray for everything that's happening this week. We pray for our children as they start school, for those returning to schools, our teachers, be with them, keep them safe. Pray for all our clubs and activities restarting, Lord. Be at the very centre of all of those things for your glory and honour. And now be in our time, Lord, be in our fellowship and friendship as we seek to encourage each other more in the things of you, Lord God. Amen.